Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are warming up to the idea of UFOs. In fact, some are outright claiming that they not only exist, but that humanity wouldn't be able to handle the truth about them. Congressman Tim Burchett, who sits on the House Oversight Committee holding UFO hearings, is calling for the files to be released. Here he is on News Nation's Morning in America yesterday. Let's watch.
And all I want is, I don't want to send the Pentagon another red cent, because that's what they're after. They see the public opinion, people like legitimate media like yourself are covering it. They're going to smell dollars. And, and honestly, the Pentagon loses over $1 billion a year in their audits, and we don't have the guts to do anything about it. We don't need to study it anymore. Just release the files. Just release the unredacted files.
Burchett also spoke to News Nation's Dan Abrams last night, where he alleged the Department of Defense is attempting to block potential insider witnesses from testifying in the unidentified aerial phenomenon public hearing that the committee is holding later this month.
We're trying to nail down all the details, but of course, we have the Pentagon pushing against us, calling some of our witnesses, telling them, don't go testify before this committee. If we have to, we'll use the power of subpoena. We'll bring them in there and make them tell the truth, because this thing has been covered up. It is ridiculous. The Pentagon needs to come forth with the truth finally, and let's move on to another issue. But until then, I think we need to find out what's going on.
Latest polling shows that plenty of people think the government is in fact hiding the truth about what it might know about UFOs. According to Redfield and Wilton Strategies, 57% of those surveyed said they believe the government has more information about UFOs and alien life than it's letting on. Only 57%. Again, I'm more skeptical than you. I think that comes through in our about alien life in general. I think this comes through in our discussions. But I too would, of course, say that, yes, they know more than they're letting on. They know more on every single subject than they're letting on, because they are, hiding. There's a lack of transparency by habit, by inclination and ideology.
Yeah, I do appreciate Burchett's focus on the Pentagon audit issue, the enormous sums of money that it loses routinely. I believe it's failed its last 5 audits. There was the news cycle of the government discovering $6.3 billion
extra that we gave to Ukraine.
That we sent to Ukraine.
How nice of us.
In a world where there is so much criticism about government spending from conservatives, it is refreshing, even if it's only in this kind of limited context, to see some of that concern about military spending, and not just spending on social programs that so many people, especially in states like Tennessee, where he's from, really rely on. That being said, he wrote this op-ed recently about this issue. He points out that we were supposed to, quoting, we were supposed to get a fresh new start toward new answers about these UAPs in June of 2021, when the Pentagon released an unclassified report on the existence of UAPs. But unfortunately, of the 144 reported UAP encounters the report discussed, it provided an explanation for just one. Who on earth wants to read a report that provides information on less than 1% of the encounters it's supposed to address? He goes on to point out all of these moments where we were supposed to have disclosures where none were forthcoming, the closed-door hearings with classified information that he is characterizing as sort of a bait and switch and a shell game of sorts. He says this lack of transparency isn't just unfair to the public, but it could put the safety of our pilots in jeopardy because of so many spottings come from military personnel who are in the air. So, this is an issue that has galvanized folks. I understand why, as a longtime sci-fi nerd and Trekkie. I feel like I do have an obligation to say that I hope that the focus on this issue doesn't come at the expense on focusing on the kind of domestic spending that a lot of people, including in his district, are really struggling with. I read recently that 24%, almost a quarter of everybody who lives in Tennessee has had medical debt negatively affect their credit rating. There are a lot of problems here on the ground, but I hope that he has the bandwidth to address both. He
also said, this is according to Fox News, he was discussing the hypothetical technology the aliens could have, that if they can travel light years at the speeds that we've seen, physics we know fly underwater, don't show a heat trail, things like that, we're vastly out of our league. They're out there. If they have this kind of technology, they could turn us into a charcoal briquette. What's that?
That
sounds scary.
A clue. Yeah.
We have some more. Let's play it. Go ahead.
Cold briquette comment. Everybody always quotes me on that. And the reality is these folks, if they are beings from light years away or wherever, the dark side of the moon, I don't know, their technology is so incredible that they could have done us, if they can travel light years to visit our little measly planet, then their technology is so superior to anything we've ever seen. And
well,
you can see that if you watch the videos. Go ahead.
Yeah. I know the TikTok video right there, or TikTok. I keep saying TikTok. TikTok video there is, I mean, it's hard to figure out what's going on there. But it's interesting. Some of the lawmakers will say, oh, and we need to know, too, if it's possibly, craft developed by China or Russia or one of our adversaries. But if you watch some of these videos, I mean, if China or Russia have that kind of technology, I mean, that would be crazy. It seems unlikely, don't you think?
Yeah. Do you think that they would have walked over Ukraine and half the world by now, Russia would have, and China would own us? I mean, Putin's ego, he would have landed one of those UFOs on the White House lawn, got out bare-chested, wrestled the president, got back in his UFO and head back to Mother Russia. I mean, let's be honest, with that ego and they're so power hungry. And China's the same way. So you can't, and also our military, are all these pilots lying? Are they risking their lives, their careers, their retirement, everything they have, their reputations for something like this? No, I say no.
This guy's a character.
He is indeed. Remember, he was the one who, after the Covenant shooting, was being interviewed about what to do about that school shooting. And he said, that's a horrible, horrible situation. We're not going to fix it. And this moment that was kind of galling I think it was on the steps of a Capitol building, where people thought it reflected the inability to do any lawmaking in the United States of America at this point, even when there's a collectively shared horror at an event like that happening for various reasons. And so it is interesting. He's doggedly pursuing us learning more about what's happening.
What were we looking at in that video? The green.
Less dogged about fixing our school shooting mass violence problem, but what can you do? Maybe this is a more tackleable problem.
What did you think we were looking at in this?
I don't know.
I see a blinking triangle.
To be honest, I've seen more credible looking UFO videos.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Than that, I mean,
blinking
that
green
kind of looks
triangle,
like the distortion.
Like a flying pizza piece?
Well, it's so much distortion that the shape could be, caused by that. Like, to me, the kind of blinking of it seems,
like it's a plane.
Airplane-ish. Yeah.
Like an airplane, yeah.
But, I've seen other kinds of videos that I think raise some questions and concerns, and I know people who have had sightings themselves, so I'm certainly not incredulous about the possibility of there being something out there at all.
Well, we hope they do release the files. They should release the files. I want to hear from primary sources. I want to hear from the people who have seen things, what they've seen, what they told the government, what our government has. If they have, again, it has been alleged by David Grush that they have actual alien spacecrafts and pilots, people who were, not people, life forms or whatever it was that were flying those crafts. That would be very important to disclose to the public if there is actually evidence of that. So we would like to learn more about it, and we'll have more Rising right after this.